Welcome to the CEN Show, a platform where we learn from the world community. I am your host, Rasuli, and on the panel this evening, we got Professor Ra, and we have Brother Ahi. Our guest for this evening is Brother Kwabena, Sakidi, Jujaga, Rasuli. Brother Kwabena has been on our show. Matter of fact, Brother Kwabena is one of our team members, and he's been on our show numerous times. I can't even count them. We have over 500 videos on YouTube. So I can't even count how many times he's been on. I would have to do a careful search, but I would say maybe about 6 times. This might be number 6, number 7. But he's on here quite often, and he does a great job with his commentary and his activism. And I'm just excited to be in his company. Brother Kwabena, welcome this evening, and you can get started with your presentation and tell us the title of it, please.
We can't take another 25 years of this music. We just reached the first quarter of the century. It's done. We're over a month into it. And we just wanted to talk about this music again. Again, like we lead off a lot of these shows. And first of all, appreciate the Community Education Network and this work you all have been doing. Continue to do your consistency in keeping this most important, this knowledge and this history and everything, this current events, keeping it all good. And I mentioned history because I was listening to the one of the segments on the history of the Black Studies Department in Long Beach State University. And I was thinking about it while I was outside today, and it's cold up here, chopping some wood. And I was like, wow, my sister and brother was married to a brother named Ricky Pierre. And this was in the 80s. And I always call it the Afrocentric 80s because he was at Long Beach State. And my cousin Tabidi, was there. And they hit me to some of these books by Hakeem Madhubuti. And I was in school for engineering, struggling a little bit. But then they gave me Enemies Clash of the Races and read about Stolen Legacy. And I was like, wow, we did all this. And just the information that they would talk about. That's why I got familiar with Professor Amon-Ra and others, during that period of time. And these cats were, part of that Black Studies at Long Beach State University. And it was an awakening for myself. My mother was teaching at Compton College at that time too. And so I would go over there and see some of the people who would be coming in. And my brother did a show out of Long Beach. Him and brother named Matthew Attar, I think was his name. And so they would do these shows and have Dr. Ben and Ajwa Kwesi and Runoko Rashidi, and all this would be even on their shows at Compton College. But that connection with Long Beach State and, Brother Ricky and Tabidi and others, I mean, they were, I think it was a brother named Vance, they were serious. These cats were serious. And I was like, wow. So I would come here for the summers and then head back to Louisiana and go to school, with a lot of this good information with me. So
Brother Kwabena, question for you. Your cousin Tabidi, is that the same one, Ra? That was you on mute, Ra? Yeah. It could be a.
Yeah, his name was Diabetes. Daryl Grayson. That's I don't think that was his cousin though.
That's not your cousin, huh, Kwabena?
No, I'm talking about my cousin is he's a naturopath. He worked with Dr. Goss. He does health.
Okay. I was just trying to see if that's the same guy. All right.
But yeah, but that's how I got familiar with what was going on in Long Beach State. And again, it definitely awakened part of my awakening. So much appreciation. It's good to hear these stories and stuff too. So it was really, really good. I encourage people to go to the archives and check it out and check out that history. This is Black History Month, even though we deal with this history all the time. We should. So right on. So I asked the question once we hit this first quarter of the century, and I've asked it several times on social media to name me 25 slow jams that have been popular or been pushed this century. Just 25 years, give me one a year. And I'm getting very, very little response. Very little response. And I do a radio show out here in Gary, been doing it for 26 years. It's called a Weekly Wrap Up, where we play conscious hip hop, classic funk, and we do a mellow extension. So the last hour and a half of the show, it's just mellow. It's mellow music and slow jams and all of that. We don't funk it up as much. Some of the mellow is funky, but that's what we do. And when we play this music, it's like, man, the music is so beautiful. It's so, the instrumentation, the voices, it's just so beautiful. And I could probably name 12 to 15, probably 20 slow jams every year, doing the study of music from the 70s all the way up until like around 90. About 20, at least 20, every year. And we're hard pressed, and I'm just putting it out there for everybody to give me 25 that were popular during the first 25 years of this century, and you can't do it. And so it's like the music used to love us. He used to talk about making love, and like many people say, a lot of babies were born. It would talk about bringing life into the world. And nowadays, our music hates us, and it talks about taking our life. It talks about taking our life. Even the Grammys just the other day gave a Grammy award for Best Record of the Year, Song of the Year, to a song that's laced in hate. It's a battle rap about hating on another ratchet rapper, and we ain't giving him no love for what he puts out. But it talks about taking life in that song. It drops numerous N-bombs in that song. And this ain't just nothing on Kendrick, because this has been going on for years and years. A couple years ago, they had nominated a song right after we had a year where, what was it? Over 10,000 Africans were homicide victims in the US. Well over 10,000. I think it was about 12,000 that year. Homicide victims of African people in the US. And the rapper had a song, what did he say? One of the lines was, "Cop new hammers for my peace. We don't want no peace." And two of the artists, Gunner and Young Thug, were indicted on RICO charges not too long after that song came out. The rapper who was spitting that ignorance, his name was Future. We call him No Future. He didn't get indicted, but he said, "I cop new hammers for my peace. We don't want no peace." This was on Saturday Night Live saying his lyrics. Again, this is early in 2022 or 23. But again, not too long after we had a year with well over 10,000, I think it was up to close to 12,000 African homicide victims. And this is what's playing on Saturday Night Live early in the year. And then they wait to the end of the year when the Grammys make their nominations, after they know two or the three of these rappers are indicted on RICO charges, and they nominate that song for a Grammy. Nominated for a Grammy. And so I was going over some songs from early in the century, over some rap songs a little earlier. And, Whistle While You Twerk, Wobble Wobble. There was some song, Hot in Here from Nelly, from the infamous Nelly now, for what's going on with his support of, my cousin calls him BH 47. Is that he's the 47th president? So it's the 47th presidential term. I was like, cuz, what does BH mean? She calls him BH 47. She said BH stands for bonehead. So I like that one. But so yeah, but I mean, what else we got in here? Hot in Here from Nelly, 2021. Some Pastor Cavassier, 2001. We Thuggin', Fat Joe and R. Smelly in 2001. A Lil Wayne song, Where You At? Wanksta, 50 Cent, 2002. In the Club in 2003. In the Club is interesting. I was in Africa, and I was still get albums when I can, but I was buying a lot of albums, and I got an album from 50 Cent and went over to Africa in late 2022. By the time I got back, or while I was in Africa, I'm hearing this song In the Club from 50 Cent. It wasn't even out before I left, really. By the time I get back to the US in March, it's like the #1 song in March 2023. And I'm hearing it over in Africa already. That's the song that really got 50 Cent over. And I said, wait a minute, I got some music by this dude where he wasn't getting no play. But 50 Cent, Dr. Dre and that crew and Eminem, they brought him out, and there he was. And now look where he is. PIMP from 50 Cent was out. Get Low from the Yin Yang Twins and Lil Jon. The Magic Stick, Lil Kim. But they also had Love of My Life from Common and Erykah Badu. But it started going downhill and downhill and downhill. When today, only thing they popularized really is songs that just basically demean and degrade us. And what happened around 2016, I would ask this question up until around then, give me three of the artists that you hear all the time on the radio, three of the female artists that you hear all the time. And practically everyone would get it. Beyonce, Rihanna, and Nicki Minaj. That was up to until about 2016. Then after that, here comes Cardi B and Bodak Yellow. Cardi B had, I think, her first 4 singles in the top 10 at one time. Only one to ever do that. This is when we start realizing that this stuff is not organic. This is put in there for a reason. How in the hell are you gonna have your first 4 singles in the top 10 at the same time? So it's a whole new formula. But after Cardi B came the City Girls, then came Megan Pete, or Megan the male horse. Stallion is a male horse, so we call her by her other slave name, not her dehumanizing name. Or unfortunately, we call her by a slave name, but Megan Pete. And then there was this onslaught of Doja Cat and Salty and just more and more. And then we get to the point where we get a sister who names herself, like when somebody would call us, say a black man is a gorilla or whatever, all hell would break loose. Now here we have a sister naming herself. Her name is Gloria. She changes, her uncle or somebody changes to Glorilla, and she kept it. Now she's a megastar. Her major hit was FN Free, FUCKNIGGA Free. That was her major hit. If you ever want to see something crazy, look at the video. Sisters are in the parking lot, some pregnant, drinking hard liquor, twerking in the video. That was her major hit that got her over. Now she's getting played all the time. She has a song out, What You Know About Me, Glorilla, and Unsexy Red, who's another example of these sisters now. And so it's like, I equate that to like that N-bomb, how these Europeans would drop these N-bombs on us. And that's that word, Nigger. We don't say that word. We a couple years ago, we said we slip and say that word maybe once or twice a year. But let me see, the last time I said it, I didn't say it at all in 2024. Did not come out my mouth. Any other time, it'll slip out every once in a while, but it did not come out. But how they used to call us that, they don't have to call us that anymore because we call ourselves that. I always say Europeans who call Africans, who drop N-bombs on Africans in the U.S., not only are racist, they dumb because they don't have to. Because we call ourselves that. We've been trained. Malcolm taught us. They taught us to hate ourselves so much, and they continue to do it, that we do it to ourselves. So I equate that to the sisters now. How the brothers would disrespect the sisters. You know, the European would do it too back in the day. There's a clip on Roots, I think, where Ed Asner is talking about NBs when they're on one of the ships, one of those ships that they were taking Africans over here to enslave them. He dropped it. He said it. She's somebody NB. And so in the rap music, one of the worst things that we talk about, that still happens, brothers calling sisters B's and H's. I got an example that I'm gonna share in a minute. Currently still going on. So we don't have to call the sisters that no more, because since that onslaught, they call themselves that. They demean and degrade themselves. They definitely been over sexualizing themselves, but typically it had been in the videos with the brothers. Or, you know, you get Lil Kim and Nicki was doing it, of course, and Foxy Brown and some other ones. But now it's like you don't get played. And it's like something Bob Ross shared about censorship, because people will get on us, y'all want to censor the music. No, it ain't us censoring the music. It's them censoring the music. You know, they censor it. If it doesn't talk about demeaning, degrading yourself, if it doesn't drop in bombs, if it doesn't degrade our women, if it doesn't promote materialism and dope slanging and alcohol abuse and shooting and killing each other, they don't play it. They censor it. They censor it. And so we can't take another 25 years of this madness. Um, so that statement is okay, but in 2025, I mean, so Bruno Mars,
Brother Kwabena,
yes.
you need to ask them, why do they chase the devil?
Mhm.
It's right on the website. Why do they chase the devil? What you talking about is devil chasing. They put it out there and then they start copying it. Okay, go ahead, Brother Kwabena. I just wanted to point this out. It's on the website,
Okay. Yeah.
Community Education Network,
Yes.
under the title Perspective Writings.
Okay.
All right, brother, go ahead.
Oh, right on, bro. You gotta check that out. You gotta check that out. Yeah, and so Bruno, and that's a good question. So sometimes we would be like, these are young brothers and sisters who just trying to come up, trying to make some money, or trying to get out of the situation they're in. And we look at it when we see in 2020, there were 200 rappers who died. In 2021, there were 250 who died. And out of the 250, 200 was gun violence that took them out of here. 200 gun violence in just 1 year. That's what took place. And like they trying to chase the devil. They trying to chase that money, that fame, or what have you. And they've been told the way you do it is with this ratchet, ignorant music. And there's a video depicting this, and it shows a lot of these rappers little snippets of their songs. All it shows all 250 of them pretty much. It's put the snippets of most of their songs. So going to I mentioned Bruno Mars, and so Bruno Mars has a song out with Sexy Red called "Fat, Juicy, and Wet." They got it as the number 3 rap song in the country right now. You can't, we won't bring it up here because the lyrics are just ridiculous. And I'm not going to say I was surprised that Bruno Mars would do this, but he doesn't need to do it. It was unnecessary for him to do it. But I mean, to say it's number 3 right now, but who's to say that's done organically? But if you get a chance to check it out, those of us who are adults, it's disgusting. Fat, juicy, and wet. I mean, why, Bruno? With Sexy Red, and I mentioned her earlier, but Sexy Red became a star when she had a song about the color of her anus was brown and her coochie was pink or whatever, red, whatever color it was. She became a star from putting that elementary, her with her non-rap self out, sister out of St. Louis. And so, yeah. And then there's another song that we want to mention about a basketball player. We all into the hoops. We know the Ball brothers out of the LA area, but they not in South Central. They somewhere, they're living okay. You know, it's a struggle, I know, for a lot of us. They do living okay. But now the two brothers are established NBA players. I'm so happy for our brother out of Chicago right now because he's like he got his knee together. He's balling pretty good right now, playing consistently again. You know, he rehabbed. His brother over in Charlotte is getting busy. He's straight up balling. He's an exciting player. LiAngelo went to UCLA, but didn't quite make it in basketball yet. He still could have. He still can. He's still young. But he comes up with a rap song. Are y'all familiar with his rap song?
No.
He had a rap song out. You familiar with it?
I just heard them, some of the NBA players saying like a verse or whatever, or a little hook to the song. That's all.
The
That's all
song
I
is
heard.
the song's entitled "Tweaker," and I guess he's going by the name of G-Lo. So when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, well maybe he came up with some cool song. He don't need to be doing no ratchet stuff. Kendrick just came down on Drake on this song. He said every time he hear that N-bomb from Drake, he cringes. Drake's mama, as we all know, is a European who practices the Jewish religion. Drake's father is the brother of Larry Graham. Drake's name is Aubrey Graham. So that's Aubrey Graham's, that's Larry Graham's nephew, bass plucker of Graham Central Station and Sly and the Family Stone. That's his nephew. So and Drake, by the way, his daddy, I think last I heard, was living in Memphis. So when Drake goes to Memphis and hooks up with Blockhead JB, they make a song called "Look Alive." We call it "Look Dead." Uh, Ends pull up to my side. We gonna send them to the other side. That's the song Look Alive that they played constantly about 6 years ago. Constantly, maybe 7. Did not stop playing it. The rapper out of Memphis that he rapped with, his name was Block Boy JB. We call him Blockhead JB. He had a song called Shoot. And the chorus, Professor, the song said, the chorus of the song was simply shoot, 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 shoot. They said shoot in the song probably 40 something times. That was the chorus of the song. There was a dance called the shoot dance where you do like this and you kick your feet up at the same time. You see the screen shaking because I'm kicking my feet up too. That was the dance. It was probably the most popular dance, other than that dance the children would do when they put their arms around their waist like that. But those two dances were out maybe 2018. The most popular dances in that song, Shoot. That was the chorus. Shoot him in the back. Now he can't feel himself. Spraying these ends like Febreze. And so this is Drake's homeboy out of Memphis. And this is what they did. So Kendrick, I guess, gets tired of this. And so every time I hear this dude drop an N-bomb, I cringe. So I'm like, okay, then why then are you still using the word 6 or 7 times in your song? Like, you can't do it without that. He'll tell you that it's an A at the end. So when he's killing you with an A at the end instead of the ER, it's affectionate. He's affectionately killing you. Not just him, this is what so many others say. We taking the ER out of it and putting the A at the end. So that's like saying, instead of saying player, like when we say player, we say player. Or instead of saying sucker with an ER, we saying it with an A. Like we changing the meaning or something. Brother Gimbo says when you take the A, when you replace the ER with the A in that M-bomb, it's like putting perfume on SHIT. It's still SHIT. It's still SHIT. So I would think that Leangelo or G-Lo would think about the popularity of Not Like Us and getting on this dude for dropping these N-bombs. But he starts off the song dropping N-bombs. Starts off the song dropping N-bombs. The song raps about putting holes all in you. It raps about spinning your block. He said all he trusts is God, his Glock, and cash. This is Tweaker from Leangelo Ball, G-Lo. For some reason, out of nowhere, he's the entertainment for the Detroit Lions, who I think they only lost 2 games this year for their playoff game, which they lost a couple of weeks ago. He's from LA, but he's up in Detroit halftime of that game. Bro, he gets an $8 to $13 million contract from Sir Lucian Grange, Jewish cat out of England, wherever he's from, because they hit him upside the head with one of them swords for something he did, and they named him Sir. So he's Lucian Grange. Give him a $8 to $13 million contract. Now he's going to be headlining one of these minstrel fests that's coming up very soon as the weather gets warmer. And this is 2025. So I'm just talking about a couple of these songs in 2025. So I'm saying is that we have to do something to put a stop to this. We have to do something to change this. This stuff is tearing us up. The murder numbers, the homicide numbers were down a little bit in the last couple of years. I live in the Chicago area, and they're down. But you can't tell that to the sisters. The 2 sisters that were shot last week in Chicago, 3 of them were shot, 2 of them were killed. A good friend of mine, her niece's stepsister, was the first homicide in Chicago this year. She tells me the sister was shot 22 times. A sister was shot 22 times. First homicide in Chicago this year. A good friend of mine's niece. It's out of control. It's still out of control. This fratricide is being pushed in this music, and it's our music. Music is culture. Music is a major part of our culture. Our culture is everything. Culture is defined as a people's way of life. How we prepare for our unborn to how we bury our dead, and everything in between has to do with our culture. With music being such an important part of our culture, we don't have control of it. They have control of it, and they're doing what they're doing with our culture, and it's beyond disgusting. And so we have to do something better to put a stop to this because it's getting worse and worse. There was we were on a call yesterday with the National Black Leadership Alliance, just talking about some issues. And one of the things we talked about was I brought it up before, how at the turn of the century, again going back 25 years ago, there was a report stated that over 30% of Black women in their 30s had never been married in their 30s. And I didn't think about it. I thought about, oh, well, I'm around that age range. Let me think about these sisters I know. Wow. Oh, wow. She got married. Hey, it was about half of them I knew in that age range who had never been married that I was kind of close with. Now 25 years later, here we are, 2025, and it's close to 50% of all Black women in marrying age have never been married. And I asked the question, well, who gonna marry him? If all I'm hearing in the music is them hoes ain't loyals, ain't nothing to cut that B off, I will never wife her, only one nighter, the woman are full of lies, I just F him and pass him to my guys. That's the chorus in the song. Or Gucci Mane's song, I'm a dog, 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 I'm a dog. I'm gonna treat her like a dog, beat her like a dog, beat her like a dog, and pass her to my dogs. If our children, our youth are hearing this over and over again, and all we're seeing in the images of our sisters is these beautiful sisters physically, but ugly inside of what they're putting out, the lyrics and what they're saying, you're not gonna take that. You don't want to marry her and take that home to your mama. It's just, so they got us gone. They know exactly what they're doing. And so we have to do more, have to do better to organize against this madness. So that's the point. We can't take another 25 years of this. And I want to briefly, if we want to shift over to something that's really related to this, that's happening in LA, if that's okay, real quick. It's all connected. The issues that we're struggling with this music, I was talking to this brother from Simotap, brother McIntosh, James McIntosh, about this. And we were talking about the N-bomb, how the N-bomb is such a, I say that N-bomb opens up the portal to all of this stuff that we're dealing with. You know, people do agree that self-hate is one of our major issues. And we share that one of the main things that epitomizes self-hate in the African masses right now is our propensity to drop N-bombs on each other. And I've run into some people who said that's a trivial fight, or that it's nothing you're gonna be able to do about it. It's already out there. But I say, and I came of age when people were you still heard some people saying, I mentioned earlier before we got on about Negro History Week, that people would say Negro and people would say colored, but you rarely do you hear those terms anymore. You rarely do you hear those terms. So if we can get away from those words, which were, some people say they were derogatory, some don't say it or whatever, but we know that N-bomb is derogatory. So we can do it. I did it. I did it. I know we can do it. And I know the effects that it had on me. There's a brother named Walter Jones Jr. that did a piece called The N-Word and Its Equation in Our Destruction. Powerful piece that he wrote, a little small essay. We would share with our students a lot of times when we were substitute teaching, before the principal got a hold of it and kicked me out of that school, said I couldn't teach in that school no more because I was sharing that with the children. But the children were getting it. They were understanding. They were going over it. So it's something we can do. We must do. But when we struggle with this music, we don't get a lot of pushback from the children and the youth because they hear it and they understand how ratchet and ignorance and I can't believe this stuff it is. But we get a lot from the adults. However, shifting to this good times piece, this good time piece, in 1974, Good Times, a sitcom, debuted on television. I was in elementary school when it came out and we were all excited about it. So it came out and we watched it. JJ did act the buffoon early on in the show and still kind of crazy at the end, but it was a comedy. We watched it. There was still some good lessons. The father, the militant midget, Michael, Thelma, of course, we all love Thelma. Esther Roll, Natural, Wallonia. So it was just a good, Janet was on there. Just a pretty good show overall. At one point, I thought it was kind of just real corny, but when I started watching the sick reruns a little bit, I said, okay, some good messages in these shows. So Netflix decided they're going to come out with a reboot. Norman Lear, before he passed in late 2023 or early 2024, he was the executive producer of it. So was Seth MacFarlane, and so was Stephen Curry. Seth MacFarlane, we were watching football late one night, and not late one night, late one afternoon. I know on the West Coast, the games come on at 10 and you got the 1 o'clock game. Out here where I'm at, the game come on at 12 and you got that 3 o'clock game. Sometimes after you eating whatever, you get sleepy on that second game and you fall asleep. So that happened to me one afternoon. I'm crashed out and I wake up. I don't know who won the game, but I wake up to someone saying Harriet Tubman doing Gwyneth Paltrow or something. I'm like, what? I know I didn't hear that. I shake up out of my slumber. I look on the TV screen on a Fox show, and there's a depiction of Harriet Tubman in that dress that we always know that she has on, with a naked white woman draped all across her. Of course, we were appalled. And so we found out who it was. It was Seth MacFarlane. And it was the show, I think it was Family Guy. So we got to get him. So we tried some stuff. We didn't get him. But then he comes out. We see that he's executive producer of this madness. So we watched the trailer last March, and it's horrible. Everybody's trashing this madness. So we talked to Dr. McIntosh at CEMOTAP, which is the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People. We called Attorney Clegg and let him know about what's going on with this. He's with CEMOTAP out west. And Sister Betty Dobson and all of them are CEMOTAP, all leadership are like, nah, this ain't happening. But it wasn't just them. It wasn't just us with Clear the Airways Project. We look up and there's already numerous petitions out there saying, don't start this, don't air this, take it off the air. We don't want this. We go to the likes and right away we see like 400 people liked it, but we saw 4,000 didn't like it. Even today, when you look at the likes, it was 8,000 plus people who gave it a thumbs up. 80,000 plus gives it a thumbs down. The people don't want this. Stephen A. Smith, Jason Whitlock, they can't stand each other, but they agree that this is trash. They have a 2-year-old baby slinging drugs, so he's been put out the house. When he leaves the house one time, sneaking in to talk to his mama, I guess, a 2-year-old baby talking and all that, of course, this is animation, but she slips a Glock in his diaper, want him to be safe. So she slips a Glock in a 2-year-old baby's diaper. The 12-year-old girl who's supposed to be the militant in this case, like a Michael character, she's on stage with grown women twerking. She's a 12-year-old. Producers of this, a 12-year-old, that's a child. This is animated child abuse. This 12-year-old girl is depicted of having her first cycle, her first menses come up, her first menstrual cycle. They show her laying in the bed with her with blood between her legs. This 12-year-old girl, they show her going in the classroom. You can see it if you can see this document right here. In the classroom, you can see the blood from her menses on her face. She's writing on the chalkboard with the blood from her cycle. She throws the blood on a classmate. This is the madness that they're showing in this cartoon. This is the madness that they're showing in this cartoon. So CEMOTAP West, CEMOTAP in New York, and June, we had a whole campaign. We had people canceling their Netflix, calling the leadership at Netflix. We had simultaneous demonstrations on June 5th at Netflix offices in Manhattan and in Los Angeles, Hollywood. We had soldiers out there demonstrating at both locations. We've been on the offensive trying to address this madness. So we switched it over to, we start focusing on Stephen Curry and the NBA. The NBA decided that when another great point guard, Kyrie Irving, simply tweeted that people should check out this documentary that was offensive to some Jewish people. He was made to apologize. He was suspended until he apologized and suspended after that, and he was fined. $500,000 they wanted him to pay. The ADL, I guess they didn't want his $500,000, but they took it from one of the Joseph Tsai, one of the owners of the Nets. So we started letting out Adam Silver know, hey, you're gonna be complicit in your NBA player Stephen Curry not just tweeting about this, he's an executive producer of this offensive. This is offensive to us. So campaign against the NBA, and that's where we are now. So our brothers and sisters in Simultap, New York, we're out at the Barclays Center in November. Stephen Curry and the Warriors are coming to Los Angeles tomorrow, February 6th, to play the Lakers downtown at the Crypto Arena. We will be out there. Simultap will be out in Los Angeles. Then we'll be in Chicago on this coming Saturday, the 6th of February, when the Warriors play the Bulls. We will be out there. Simultap and the Clear Airways Project and other organizations will be out there demonstrating against Steph Curry and the NBA for being complicit in this madness. And also, we're going to follow up in New York early March. There's 2 games, one in Manhattan and one in Brooklyn, back to back, or 2 days apart in early March, March 4th and March 6th. So we're having protest demonstrations in the 3 largest cities in the United States dealing with this madness. We're saying no more later for all of this. So that's going to be taking place in the next tomorrow in Los Angeles, Saturday in Chicago, and early in March after the All-Star break, after the Super Bowl in New York. We're not playing with these people no more. We're tired of this. And one of the main reasons also, y'all, is they ordered a new season of this madness. Netflix ordered a new season of this. They're trying to unleash in April, not under our watch, not without us speaking out against it. So we can't take another 25 years of this, y'all. We gotta organize and fight back. So appreciate y'all.
Hey, Brother Kwabena, we want to go to the panel, see if they have comments or questions for you. I know that when I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking about our elder that just passed away, Neely Fuller Jr., on Saturday, February 1st. And he said that we are in the refinement stage of white supremacy racism. And it's not so that it's overt racism, it's covert. And you kind of said that because they can feed it to you, but you take it on and make it your own. You know, they call you Nigger, but now you calling yourself that. And it was meant offensively back then. And then you take the music, you explained it clearly. Songs that were meant for love, culture, enriching culture. And then they change it around to degradation. And they take the degradation and just eat it up. And it's you, this devil is after you, and then you chase it. It just turn it around and you start chasing the things that are wrong. So, you know, your work is significant and needed. And definitely the Community Education Network appreciate what you do and continue to do. And at some point, it's we just gotta start doing more. That's all. So, and I'm guilty of not doing a lot now, but my time is coming. Okay, Professor Rob, you're on mute.
As he on mute, bro, what you do with this network is tremendous, man. So y'all putting in this work, bro. So I just want to share that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Professor Rob.
Yeah. Again, thanks, Kwabena. We appreciate your work and trying to educate and put on challenges to those that are sponsoring, producing, directing, and making this music, as you say, that is detrimental to us as a people. It's been going on for a long time. The issue is that we have to begin to demonize. It's like our parents used to demonize drugs and demonize cursing and demonize various forms of behavior that would get you sent to hell. So we have to demonize it a little bit more. And that takes education, where each household have to either censor this type of music or give a different narrative to their children on how to listen to it. They don't let it affect them psychologically into the subliminal suggestion of this type of music. Because along with the music comes performance, and most of the music today is performance. That's why the women are half naked, very half naked, and it's a sad thing that they come out in G strings and things. And Beyonce is the leading one, and there's not no class to it, as far as I'm concerned, because it's all a sexual subliminal suggestion. It ain't about what they singing. It's about how they perform. Now here she is getting record of the year for singing to white people Western music. Western music is white music. That's what Western music is. That's what it means. I know there were black cowboys and that's where the term came from, some historians say. Because they call them cowboys because they were black men taking care of horses and all of that. But one thing we have to do is do more education with newsletters and information. And more of our Black Psychology Association should be coming out with position papers and publications on the psychological effect of this. And you got some strong psychologists in Chicago. And we got some, I don't know what Naeem Akbar is doing, but the young psychology students today, they generally stop it with a master's, but going on and getting a doctorate in psychiatry or psychology is not as prevalent as it should be, because we're dealing with a cultural war as well as a physical war and things of this nature. But you bring out the point about black women that's not married. My statistics and my reading back, I'd say in the early 80s, maybe 90s, they won't even be asked to get married. That's more than not married. They won't even get engaged. They're not even engaged. Some women are saying, just give me a baby, I'll take care of it. You don't even have to pay nothing. You got a lot of women doing that. And then, as Haki said, women have four choices. One, go and get a man from abroad, from one of the islands or Caribbean. Second, get a white man. Third, be a lesbian from that standpoint. And four, just marry somebody that they don't even love. And I'll be with somebody that abuses them. So those are the things that Haki was talking about. And he's out of Chicago Institute of Positive Education. But that was a shocking experiment. But who is raising young men to get married is a goal. Those records ain't, they're demonizing the women. When you demonize the women, you're demonizing children, and you're demonizing the institution of a companionship. You understand? I mean, you got P. Diddy up there saying that he was making love to men and women, kids and women. And Cat Williams talking about how he went to the party and saw men kissing men. T.D. Jakes was supposed to have been there and all that type of stuff. So we got to look at it. Then you brought the point about love songs. When I was coming up, you could dedicate a record to a woman and say, you call the radio station, say, hey, man, dedicate this out to Charlene or whoever your woman is. And it was a love song. You can't dedicate these records. You know, how you gonna dedicate a record calling your woman an itch with a B? Calling her O. And then some of the women bought into it after so-called ends with attitude. Here come B's with attitude. And here come H's, WH, whores with attitude. I mean, and they were doing this. So that and the follow up, the last thing I'll say is most of them are being produced by white people. And the biggest listeners to it is white people. And black people, I mean, I've seen Latinos listening to this mess too. And it's a different generation. And I understand the difference in generational music. But this is not music. This is psychological warfare, using music as a weapon to create divisiveness, violence toward each other, and alienation from each other. Species have. That's all I got to say right now.
Appreciate it, man. Any response, Brother Kwabena?
I mean, it was on point. I mean, his analysis of it is on point. You know, we call it music, SICK, a lot of times when we spell it out. It's psychological warfare. It's basically what it is. And they know how this is affecting us. We just got to understand more so how it's affecting us and properly address it. We got to organize to address it. So yeah, on point, bro. You and Professor.
Yeah. It's just sort of like prostitution. I give you the certain amount of money and you go and degrade yourself and they put it and they publicize it. And then, you know, the psychological damaging that it's doing to people is astronomical. You know, these people are getting pimped and you know, they take the bag and they think that it's okay. How could you fix your mind to something like that? It's just mind control, brain damage, all kind of negative, you know.
It's brain
Yes.
numbing, man. I mean, even going back to Leangelo, it's like, I mean, you live in a place, you got money. Your brother's got $100 million contracts, and you still come up with a song about killing people, constantly dropping. Your mama's a European, and she called you in at home. And they said him and his brothers wrote this song, and it's N bombs galore.
Yeah, sickness. Okay, brother Ahit.
Telling you that's a long way from ooh baby baby and come get to this and Bill Withers and the Delphonics and the Spinners and the Dramatics and listen, when I was growing up and that testosterone started hitting you as a teen, you love Curtis Mayfield or Teddy Pendergrass or Marvin Gaye get in one ear and you try and talk up on it on the other ear. When you were saying slow jams with the rap, I don't understand it. I don't understand even the songs that you called out, but I really don't listen to the music. I mean, way back when they first started spewing that filth, and I started looking at our babies, verbatim, doing this 2 Live Crew with the Luke guy. I said they're brilliant babies because they retaining this information and they're articulating the song and everything. But I mean, look at what they were articulating. And it was just, I mean, once you get past The Last Poets or Gil Scott Heron, Lou Rawls rapping or Ike's rap, that kind of stuff. This rap that Pigmeat Martin or Mark Pigmeat Market. This new stuff that it's always been alien to me, and it is degenerating. It's self-degenerating. We at a point now where we don't think through how you can tell a lot about the people, how they treat their women, and what type of esteem you hold your women in. And we're not in a good place as in the African diaspora here in America. A couple of years ago, I was in Omaha, Nebraska. Every other year, they have like everybody that was born or raised to have some type of connection to Omaha come home, and they keep the city open for the weekend, and it's like a party all weekend, you know, like a reunion. And I was in a parade, and we were following sorority, the Deltas. And we're looking up here at the Deltas, masters, PhDs, MDs. Oh, she's on CNN. Oh, she's an administrator here in the municipality. And they had their music playing, and brother, the music that our intelligentsia were marching to and twerking on the street, it was shameful. You are up against it. When our intelligentsia embraces this stuff, where it's so common, they don't see what's atrocious about it. Of course, our babies are not going to see it because their elders are spewing this stuff around them. I mean, this type of music has always been around, but it's been like for grown-ups. I mean, you can go down to the early 1900s where Lucille Bolden was saying some stuff that'll make you cringe right now, but children weren't around it. They didn't have to listen to this stuff. Now it's acceptable all across the media, all on TV. The white people know it as well as the black folks. They may not say the word in front of you, but you better believe it when they repeating those lyrics at home. They not only saying that, they saying other things. You got women standing on the front doing a video with their vagina pushed all up in the camera talking about some WAP. I didn't know what that was. Somebody told me what it was. I said, they have the audacity to say this. Straight up. So now our little girls are going around saying WAP. Here, come get this WAP. You up against it, brother. Like you said, culturally, it's embedded in the culture now. They don't see anything wrong with it. It's cringe-worthy for somebody from my generation. But when I look around at the younger folk, it's par for the course. That's where we at right now. And I wish you all the success with this, but you're up against it.
Look, don't just wish us. It's that affects all of us, bro. We need your help. This affects all of us. And I see Professor Rob. I just real quick. I mean, no, go ahead, bro, because I got to point out my little 11-year-old.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
My little 11-year-old niece. We had a Zoom with Simotap on this whole piece, and so I was in Louisiana. My niece was sitting right next to me when Dr. McIntosh was sharing the point about the 12-year-old girl, and my niece is 11, and her first cycle, and throwing the blood and using the blood. And my little niece said, "This is disgusting." She's 11 years old. If she knows it's disgusting, these grown folks know it's disgusting. And so even though a lot of this stuff has been normalized, we know better. I bet Kendrick Lamar will not be dropping N-bombs in New Orleans on Sunday when he performs, that he drops in all his songs. I doubt it. I doubt very seriously that he'll be dropping N-bombs. He knows better. We saw him in Alabama several years ago when this white girl came up on stage. She started singing his song. She dropped a couple N-bombs. She dropped one. He let her slide. Dropped again. He put her off the stage. But yet you look out into the crowd, mainly Europeans in Alabama, dropping N-bombs, singing along to his song.
Yeah. Let me just say this, man. Years ago, we talked about how white folks chose our leaders. you know, promote them, put them on TV, invite them to have hors d'oeuvres at the White House lawn. We didn't even choose them. We're not choosing our music. They're giving Academy Awards and Grammys to these people who are doing all those things, and so that makes the kids want to do it. They paid Snoop millions of that billions. Nah, he's a billionaire now, probably. For gang talk and drug talk. I'll be right with you, Rose. Gang talk, dressing up that gang, doing the Crip Walk at the Super Bowl when he performed. And they are doing this. So they're telling our kids you can be successful singing the stuff that we're against, and we'll choose your leaders. We give them money, give them cars, give them big a jury, let them have all kinds of tattoos. So the struggle got to continue to educate people because it's really messing up the minds of the people.
You know, when you look at the origin of the music, I've been watching lately these people. There's this one brother, Dr. Omar, who is talking about the origin of hip hop, who created it. There have been some type of conflict between he and Puerto Ricans and Italians who said that they were part of the people who invented the dance, the graffiti, the DJ, the master of the MC process. But he has gone back to the very origins of the hip hop phenomenon and brought out people who are still living that initiated the graffiti, the dance, the master of ceremony, and the rap of hip hop. One of the inventors, and this came from children, these were preteens that this came from. It came from a gang culture in New York, a group called the Spades were primarily responsible for the start of this music. And one of the leaders say it's going to be wretched because it came from wretched. It came from people who were gang banging, who were talking about the most wretched stuff that you can talk about. So of course it's going to happen when these people are killing each other over lyrics, demeaning women. He said that's what the whole attitude of the music. It's about an attitude, and it's not a good one. So the originator of this art form, if that's what you want to call it, says that. And his name, the name of the gang is the Spades. I think they come out of the Bronx, the South Bronx, either the South or the West Bronx. And I forget his moniker, but maybe it's Blackjack or something, but it had something to do with the Spade name. And he himself admits that this is no surprise to him because it was all about the attitude. It was the attitude of the street. And it was, of course, the more negative side of what was happening in the streets. And I thought that was very interesting for him to bring that up. For him to bring that up, and here it is, $1 trillion business now, and everybody wants a part of it. Everybody wants to say, I invented it. I was part of this because it's money now. It's in the Olympics. The dancing is in the Olympics. But it comes from wretchedness. And he isn't surprised that it is where it is. So I thought that was interesting.
Another point It really break my heart. It really didn't break my heart, just disappointed. They start teaching hip hop in colleges, but they don't make a delineation that should be made. That, you know, different eras of hip hop, they try to act like it's a culture. You know, the hip hop culture, the dress, the this, the that. That have nothing to do with culture. You know, it's just a style that people have. Music is music. You understand? Each generation changes their music, but what we have is young professors who are trying to justify or explain that, yeah, there's some negative aspects of it, but overall it's good. But they can't tell you how it's so meaningful. What's the object of it? What is the object of the music? You understand? Like you said, we had love songs. The object of it is to be in love. What is the object of hip hop? To walk around with your pants sagging? To don't comb your hair? To put tattoos on? I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, man.
All the worst.
Mhm.
You know, we mentioned Neely Fuller, her comrade and, you know, call her Dr. Frances Cress Welsing before she transitioned. After she transitioned, I was just watching a speech by her, and remember, the 24-minute mark, she says that rap music has annihilated the self-respect of Black people. And we share that quote often. But when we started off today, though, I was talked about referencing the Long Beach State um, of Black Studies history, and I talked about how it influenced me. And that time was the 80s. And on the presentation we do about this music, we talk about the Afrocentric or the African-centered 80s and the music. So around that time, I mean, the artists that were putting out that music, it was what we call the golden age of hip hop. And the majority of it, I would say, was kicking knowledge. It was it was good music. It was, the lyrics were good, especially. And I saw the rapper Kool Moe Dee at a concert, and I got on him one time. I blamed it on him because he had this song called "Knowledge Is King." Powerful song, "Knowledge Is King." Look up the lyrics if you get a chance. Snoop later on came and Dre used the same beat to do "Gin and Juice," but they talk about the secret meeting. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. We equate it to like the Willie Lynch letter, but they took control and they started pushing the negativity. I said, Modi, when you and LA were feuding, they stopped playing you after Knowledge Is King. They started playing Big Old Butt and all this. I'm that type of guy, you know. Just so they stopped playing you, they started pubbing him up, and they started. And so they took over and they got control. They realized what they could do with that music, and like you said, they took it back. Like the brother, I guess from the Bronx was explaining, they took it back to that. I struggled with this one brother, good brother. He's just totally deaf on hip hop. He just totally said he goes back to them origins like he talked about, and how it was just his origins were like that. But there are so many artists out there now still who continue to make good music, like the D1s, like the Young Dons and the Cirocs and others who continue to use this art form or this subgenre of music to give good messages, to try to wake the masses up. So it's a shame though, but that they get censored, like we mentioned earlier. They don't get played. Like Lupe Fiasco is one of the most well-known, respected artists in the world. He's from right here in Chicago. He never gets any song played on Chicago radio. So they know exactly what they're doing.
I'm with that. I heard Ice Cube say that, mentioned the fact that there was a meeting as far as them trying to get some some music out, and how the executives uh, were determined to put out the worst of the worst, and all the consciousness that was in the music. And I, you know, like I'm not, like, as I first stated, I'm not like a real big fan of the music. I don't know a whole lot about the music, but I mean, there was a few of the artists like the Dead Presidents and what's a guy named KRS-One. You know, they were really kind of trying to talk about some things. And as you said, and Lupe Fiasco is a bad brother, and I know that much. But like you said, I don't hear it on the radios. Like I hear Glorilla, and I just keep on going down to public broadcasting station.
You know,
I
there's
don't want to hear that.
there's a cat, man, a white dude, white Mike they call him. He says you turn the radio from one end of the dial to the other. The only time you're gonna hear somebody rap songs about killing people is gonna be a rap station with black folks talking about killing people. It's
Yes.
Center for Disease Control states a couple years ago, one of the things we were reading, they do the top 10 causes of death. The only group that had homicide in the top 10 are African people. And for our during this year or during this time, it was number one cause of death from age 1 to 44. Those are the ages we're supposed to be developing and then having children or whatever. But it was our number one cause of death was homicide. And so if that's the case again, why do you put it in the music? So they know exactly what they're doing. Even when we go back to this Good Times reboot piece, they got slop hop all infused in that. They got the drill rapper, the one who started the drill, even though it was murder music before then, Chief Keef, depicted in this Chicago-based Good Times animation, where the son is so dumb he can't pass the 10th grade, take him 3 times. So the parents take him to Chief Keef to get some drugs so he can get smarter. So Chief Keef has a shootout right when the parents are there with the son about to administer or sell him these drugs. So he's shooting it out with some cats, then he stops shooting it out, then go ahead and makes up the package to make him smarter. So this dude goes home, gets smart, goes back to school, gets smart because he's on these drugs, has a contest with his sister who's supposed to be real smart too. And the thing is, whoever wins this contest, the other one has to pick the roaches out of the cereal for the next month or something like that. This is in this cartoon, Good Times, that we're protesting Stephen Curry for producing this on tomorrow in Los Angeles, on Saturday and out here in Chicago, and then upcoming in March in New York City.
Brother Kwabena, I saw one of those little short, I don't know, you wouldn't call it a documentary, but it's a little YouTube video about a lady that was on the side of the road in where the Golden State Warriors play, in those areas. And she was on the side of the road, her car was stalled. And they said that Stephen Curry, well, he did. He stopped to help her, and she wasn't aware that it was him. And they made him look like a saint, saying how good he was and all of that. So if you got thousands or millions of people watching that, and then they don't probably know that he's the executive producer of this show. And it made him look like a saint. And then he can allow himself to produce something, be a part of this filth. I mean, it's amazing how things are. It's just amazing. When they say knowledge is power, it is. But these people are prostitutes. They do anything for money. And then, like brother Ahi says that these people that were, I mean, this needs to be said. These people that supposed to be role models and supposedly have education. What kind of education have you contradict yourself and be a role model for filth? It just doesn't make any sense. And this is exactly why I had to change my life. Because a lot of people want to justify doing wrong. They got to make themselves feel good about doing wrong.
Living a lie.
Action justification.
Well, it's big money in it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Steph Curry, his manager, invested it, and one of the conditions was for him not only get dividends, but put him down as executive director and just write it off as a joke. It's like that Cosby cartoon and some other cartoon that had a bunch of profanity in it. You know, they were just for entertainment. It's like playing basketball on the pro level, sports entertainment. And so you got you know we need to do more investigation on because most of the athletes, business managers and financial advisors tell them what to do. But you know we've gotten to the point whereas regardless of how you got into this mess, it ain't too late to denounce it and take your name down as Kwabena was saying. And once you see what's going on. But like you say, they're so arrogant because they don't live in the community, so we can't get to them. They got enough money, whereas they can travel and fly and they put them on TV for commercials and things of this nature. Rasuli was saying, to make them look like they're just innocent. And that's how white folks do. They make you think they're innocent of genocide, innocent of imperialism and colonialism and Holocaust of enslavement and genocide of the Native American. They act like, they have you thinking they're all Dick Van Dykes, and it's sad, man, that TV and that radio, which see, it's so hard. Like when the Dales Dramatics and all that, their audience was geared toward black people. These people is trying to get universal acceptance. I mean, they playing these records on the black market in China. The forbidden fruit, whatever you tell them not to listen to, even in Muslim countries. Now, that makes them want to do it, because they saying it's illegal. Like when we was coming up, we had to hide to listen to Red Fox and
Richard.
them type of people, even Richard Pryor to a certain degree,
I was made
because your parents wouldn't let you play that stuff, and you definitely couldn't turn it up. These people come in your neighborhood blasting, man, and stop sign on motorcycle gangs listening to it. So it's a challenge. That's why education and more. We have to continue that struggle. And I'm just glad you're at the forefront of it, Kwabena, because you're doing an excellent job.
right, brother, because before you, I was into what every time you see this guy after the game, he's got his daughters and he's hugging his daughters and he's playing ball with his son and putting them all up on the stage in front of the media. And he and his wife are really engaged with their children. And then on the other hand, you turn me on to this crap. What a contradiction.
Still one of my favorite players, man. Every time I watch him play, I still be pulling for him to do his thing. I appreciate that while he's mastered the craft. He changed the game. Him and Mark Jackson allowing him to do that, change the game. But we say he missed a shot on this one. He missed a shot on this one. And like you said earlier, Professor Ratu, we have to call it out. We have to challenge this. We have to let him know. I mean, we got to, I hate calling him this, but we would call him Step and Fetch It Curry for this. Step and Fetch It.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, brother Kwabena, hey, I'm with you, and you calling them out, CMOTAP and the other organization is, oh man, it's just, hey, somebody got to fight. Somebody got to fight for our sanity, our culture, our survival, and we have to do it. Have no choice. You have been chosen, Kwabena.
But it's got to be we. I mean, I talked to
Yeah, I'm just saying you a spearhead. Professor Rod chose me to do things. He instilled in me to do things, and I'm doing them. He didn't tell me to do it, but he presented himself so well. I have no choice. Then I run up on Neely Fuller, Kamal Kambon. It's just you can't help but do this work, man. If you can't value living the best life that you can live, man.
Yeah.
It ain't money. It's called significant values, a value of doing things the way you should do them.
And look at the rappers that's on trial and the music mongols that's on trial for violence. Yeah, shooting a gun and I mean, trying to. First of all, most of them ain't even from the streets. They ain't putting in no work. They just sing about it because somebody else wrote the word. And they may watch a movie to get the flavor of it, like an actor reading the script. But most of them don't even have no affiliation with street life, man, and how it really is. I mean, it's too much, brother.
Real life imitating art instead of the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we gonna conclude here. Next Wednesday, we have Attorney Larry Fields from the Level Set crew, and his topic is employment discrimination. He's gonna talk about that. And Professor Rob, what we got for the rest of the month?
We got the Black Movement at Cal State Long Beach.
Man.
I'm gonna give them a whole perspective of how Black studies came into being,
Okay.
and the challenges that we went through to get it started. And because they need to know, most students think it's been there all the time. Like going to these hotels, they act like there was never any discrimination at the Hilton and the Holiday Inn. And they spend their money there like, oh, I can come now. And it always was this way. It wasn't. It was anti-discrimination movements and civil rights movements and Black Power movements that opened up these doors. And that's why it's hard for them to give appreciation to our ancestors and to our martyrs and our heroes and heroines. You understand? They're looking at the people today with gold all in their mouth and silver all in their mouth, as their heroes, I mean, how can you give Lil Wayne a nomination for a Grammy? How can you do that,
Mediocrity rules the day.
That's it.
And
So we'll be on Tuesday.
Okay, Brother Kwabena, last words.
Yeah, we're doing this 100th anniversary lecture series for Brother Malcolm's centennial this year, and so that continues, man. And then we gotta remember what that brother talked about and study his speeches, and and bring them up to date. Amber, because he was I hear
Brother
a lot
Kwabena, keep us informed, and then we also, if you have information that we can post on the website, so we can, and then you could even come a few times and promote it. We gotta fight. Well, we are fighting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We will. And tomorrow, but we're looking for a good turnout tomorrow in LA, downtown, 6 o'clock at the Crypto Arena. When the Warriors come to town, hey, let Steph know what's going on. I'm looking for a good turnout in Chicago coming up on this Saturday when they take that flight over to Chicago to play the Bulls. 6 o'clock in Chicago, and again in New York coming up in early March. So right on. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right.
Keep up the great work. Each one teach one in Conscious Corner.